Hey, what's up guys? So it's time to start breaking down the recent patch notes coming at the end of April. So let's start with the system changes coming up, specifically the meterless uppercuts update. So I hear a lot of people seem to be confused about the changes to the meterless uppercuts. People are asking, are wake up uppercuts back? Can we now use this? Will it still get beat by media attacks? That's pretty much what this video is going to be about, what I'm going to explain. Especially since they've already changed it once already in Season 2. And now we're getting another update that's changing it again, so I can understand the confusion. Capcom has also noted that meterless uppercuts have recently become very risk intensive, yet yields little reward. So basically, we're risking doing our uppercuts that can be stuffed by the opponent's attacks, yet they're still getting a crush counter reward when we're doing these uppercuts in the first place. Capcom has also acknowledged that the medium versions were still losing the jumping attacks. So the jumping attacks were too deep, they were still beating them, and so even as an anti-air, these uppercuts were lacking. So the list of characters that this patch will affect in March is Ryu, Ken, Akuma, Kami, and Juri. These are the characters with shoryuken style special moves. You'll also notice that Necalli was not mentioned because he pretty much has already gotten these changes at the start of Season 2. So he'll be the perfect character to give some examples of this because all of his uppercuts, each different one, is pretty much already has these exact changes that they're giving us. So what Capcom has done is they made each strength of each uppercut, including the EX version, have its specific use. So I'm going to be going down each strength individually in order, and I'll explain what they're used for now. Let's start with light uppercuts. So light uppercuts now maintain their throw invincibility. So technically they didn't really change the light uppercuts at all in this upcoming patch, because they already were throw invincible during the startup. So let me show an example of this. So if Necalli does a wake up hard punch or medium punch uppercut, they could be easily thrown during the wake up. So I'll show you. Necalli does his hard punch uppercut, and then this time I'll throw him as he's getting up, and it beats it. Now I'll show you guys the medium punch version of it. So he gets up, medium version, and I'll try to throw him. No problem. Now if he does the light version, it'll outright beat my throw. And once again guys, I'm using Necalli as an example because he is the one with these changes already. Like I said, all the characters with all uppercuts are getting these exact changes. So, light punch uppercut. Now my throw won't win. So the main use of light uppercuts in this upcoming patch will be to beat throws or command throws. So you might be asking yourself, why would you use this and risk being crush countered by the opponent, rather than just simply neutral jumping when the opponent tries to grab you, or jumping back, or even backdashing? You might even get a higher reward neutral jumping from a command grab, because you'll land and punish him for it, rather than just, hitting him with one light uppercut. Well, keep in mind, if he does a regular throw on you as you're getting up, a character like Laura or Alex can option select you. They can do a regular throw, and they can do the Superman punch and anti-air you as you're still in the air. A lot of characters have this. Even Zangief can just do a regular throw on you as you're getting up, and if you're holding up, he could just see it and do an instant air SPD and grab you out of the air, for example. So there's that to consider. And the reward of doing a light uppercut is that you'll just outright do damage and get a knockdown. I know it's really not the risk reward you guys are looking for, but that's pretty much Capcom's thought process on this. Alright, let's talk about the medium uppercuts now. So the medium uppercuts last patch, what Capcom did is they removed the invincibility on the first 2 frames, okay? So that means you couldn't use the medium uppercut as a reversal because the opponent was sticking out an attack as you were getting up off the ground. The medium uppercut would still get beat. But at the same time, as an anti-air, Capcom, they raised the hitboxes a little bit. So they're making it so that it will just beat jumping attacks by the hitboxes themselves. But if the opponent had a really good jumping attack, like let's say Chun-Li's jumping hard kick, for example, and you timed it really late, and the character jumped really deep on you, you get a trade, or sometimes you just get outright beat. So there's definitely an issue with the medium uppercut. It was not good as a reversal or as an anti-air, which is a huge problem. So what Capcom did now is they made it so that the medium uppercut is now fully invincible against airborne attacks, even on the first frame. So the opponent, as long as he's in the air attacking you, if you use your medium uppercut, you will just outright win. You are invincible to him. Alright, so let me show you guys what I mean. So let's just get Ryu to jump and attack us. Now, as long as we do our uppercut early, we should win every single time. because the hitbox is higher, we're fully invincible on frame 3, it should win every single time working as intended. But the thing is, we don't always have the luxury of doing our uppercuts early like that. What if the opponent knocks us down and times it so he's jumping at us as we're getting up? What if we were too slow and we're in the heat of battle, right? We always don't have the luxury of doing the uppercuts that fast. So since it's not invincible frames 1 to 2, we're going to have some issues where this uppercut will either trade or just get outright beaten. So I'll show what that looks like. So let's get Ryu to jump and attack again. And then I'm going to do it a little later. See, it trades. Let's do it super late. See, it says counter hit on the screen, and it didn't even come out. So that is something that Capcom just wants to outright avoid. And coming up in this patch in April, as long as the opponent is in the air, this will always win cleanly, fully invincible to airborne attacks. They actually had this mechanic in Cross Tekken. Now, since medium uppercuts will beat all airborne attacks, this won't be necessarily just jump attacks, it's anything airborne. So for example, Ibuki's forward hard kick is considered airborne during the active frames. So when Ibuki's doing her forward hard kick, if say she does this as a meaty, say she knocks you down and she times it so she hits you with this just as you're getting up, your medium uppercut should just outright beat it because she's in the air at that point. And there's a lot of other moves in the game like this as well, but it's also something to consider with this next patch. So to summarize the medium uppercuts, it's buffed in the way that it'll always win as an anti-air or against airborne attacks, but the medium uppercut also got slightly nerfed because now it no longer has invincibility to ground attacks or throws at all now. Whereas before, in the version that we're playing right now, it was invincible to normal attacks on the ground starting frame 3. So keep that in mind as well. There is kind of a nerf to it, but now that's transitioning to the hard punch uppercut, which I'm going to explain. So moving on to hard punch uppercuts now, they basically gain the properties of the medium uppercuts in this patch. So what they did is they added strike and projectile invincibility from frames 3 to 6. So this means the opponent can still meaty you because it's not invincible frames 1 to 2, but starting frame 3 it is. So let's say I knock down Necalli and he does his hard punch uppercut, okay? If I do a meaty attack, that means I'm doing an attack that's already out by the time he's getting up, I'll win. So it'll look like this. But let's say I was off by just a slight amount, by 2 frames. If my meaty was poorly timed, he'll beat me. See, it'll be invincible by that time. But if I time it right, it should be a counter hit. So with that being said, that means that hard punch uppercuts still won't beat perfectly timed meaty attacks. So this also means that hard punch uppercuts will beat poorly timed frame traps or block strings with a big gap in between, for example. So let's just say Necalli is mashing on hard punch uppercut during a block string, okay? So I go medium punch on him. Since my medium punch has got like a gap in between in it, a pretty big one, Necalli will just outright beat me, so watch. Hard punch uppercut wins. Let's say I go standing medium punch, crouching medium punch, another big gap, I'm only like +1. Hard punch uppercut will win. So it will beat opponents that don't like have really good frame traps, really tight ones, or just like block strings that aren't real. But let's say I do use a real frame trap where there's barely any space, less than 2 frames. So with Ryu I go standing light punch to crouching light punch. Then we'll see what happens. It'll beat Necalli because he's not invincible yet, and this will be like this for every character in April. Also keep in mind that it's strike and projectile invincibility, not throw invincibility. So that's what the light uppercut is for. So if I throw Necalli in between this string, he'll still get thrown even with the hard punch uppercut, even if he's invincible. Now as for the projectile invincibility, this is pretty much for poorly spaced block strings into fireballs. So since it's projectile invincible on frame 3, let's say with Ryu I go crouching medium kick into fireball, there's a huge space in between that, so you'll be able to easily hard punch uppercut through this. So I'll show an example of this. And then you should beat the opponent doing that without even having to use meter. And like I said, this is coming across all the uppercut characters in April. One last thing, guys, I should mention about hard punch uppercuts is that since they'll be getting strike invincibility from frames 3 to 6, that means you can use them as anti-airs now in the same way that medium punch uppercuts can be used as anti-airs now. So the only problem is that they're going to get the same problems that medium punch uppercuts have as anti-airs. is that they're going to end up trading if the opponent jumps in too deep, or if you do the uppercut too slowly, because they're not invincible to strikes frames 1 to 2. So they'll have the same issues. Another thing is that hard punch uppercuts, usually as an anti-air, they don't do too much damage because a lot of them are multi-hitting, for example, so you won't get all the hits since you can't do them early. And another issue is usually you get bonus damage when you do them really deep on your opponent. If you just hit them, if you just do it early, which you have to, because otherwise the opponent is going to end up trading with you, you won't get the extra bonus damage that way as well. So it's not really a big deal, but it's something to keep in mind. Now, as for the EX uppercuts, Capcom is going to keep the EX uppercuts exactly how they are right now, which is full invincibility. They're invincible to strikes. Let me show you. Invincible to strikes. They're invincible to throws. And they're invincible to projectiles. So Capcom still doesn't like the idea of you using a mirrorless invincible reversal that beats all strikes, projectiles, and throws. They still want you to spend a bar if you want that option. So to quickly summarize the different strengths of uppercuts, the light punch uppercut is used to beat throws and command throws. The medium uppercuts will be used to anti-air. They'll never trade now with airborne attacks. The hard punch uppercuts will be used for poorly timed meaties, so the opponent is just eyeballing it and trying to time their attack as you're getting up. Most of the time you'll win, especially if they don't have an actual real setup on you. It's also used to beat poorly timed frame traps with a big gap in between them, or block strings with a big gap in between them, and also used for fireball block strings with huge gaps in between them as well. And the EX uppercuts will be used as your actual invincible reversal option, but it costs a meter. So that's a wrap, guys. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. Hopefully this has cleared up all your questions you guys have regarding the uppercut changes. Don't forget to like the video, guys, and be sure to subscribe to the channel, as of course I'll be going over the other patch note changes in greater detail in the future. So till then, guys, take care.